We are should be good to go.
Yep, looks like we are on our end. Perfect. We'll call the meeting of December the 9th, 2021 to order at 9 a.m. Pursuant to Section 70 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act and the current disaster proclamation and written determination of the Zoning Board of Appeals Chair, a public hearing can be held by audio and video conference without a physical quorum. Due to public health concerns, this meeting is being conducted via video and audio conference. Meeting is being recorded and live streamed at lakecountyil.gov/watchZBA to allow the public the ability to watch. In-person attendance was also made available at the Lake County Permit Facility of 500 Winchester Road. As a reminder to board members, please share your video when you are speaking. If you'd raise your hand or your virtual hand at any time, if you would like to be called on, if I miss you, please let me know. And also, if you would keep yourself muted for the general public, the applicants, and the members to avoid any background interruption. Roll call at this time.
Morning, Member Hackney.
So looks like Dennis is having some technical difficulties, so maybe come back to just letting him back into the room.
We'll start with Member Peterson.
Here.
Member Starkey.
Here.
Member Roche.
Here.
And we'll try Member Hackney one more time.
I didn't see him jump back on, but I did see him before.
He's muted.
Is he?
I did let him back into the waiting room or back into the meeting. But he is on mute, so he just might be having some technical difficulties because he had dropped off.
Danny, we see you on, so once you...
I'm back.
There he is.
Here.
Thank you. And Chair Kaplan.
I hear.
Member Reindel's not present today, so we have a total of 5 today.
Sounds good. We appreciate him letting us know earlier today. Pledge of Allegiance at this time. Brad, if you would show the flag, and Member Starkey, if you would do the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Member Starkey. Select items from the application as well as additional evidence to be provided by the applicant or members of the public ahead of the hearing may be presented today via screen share. Physical evidence germane to topics of today's agenda have been previously submitted. However, if there's additional items the petitioner or members of the public wish to submit, please indicate so by raising your virtual hand or letting us know. The public was invited to submit comments. Written comments that were received by 8 a.m. today will be read into the record for consideration on their item in the order they received. Comments received during the hearing will be read prior to the close of the hearing. Public in attendance that want to make comments may do so by raising your virtual hand or just indicating. Questions and comments by the public will be heard after the presentation of evidence and questions from the ZBA board. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes each. I believe there's no other business. So at this time, this is a legal public hearing. So anyone that's going to make testimony or have any comments, if you'd raise your right hand. That includes a petitioner. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yep,
I do. Thank you all. With that, I will turn it over to Tom for the preliminaries on 7/18-2021.
Applicants seeking a variation have the burden of proving to the Zoning Board of Appeals that the required standards of the Unified Development Ordinance have been met, even if there are no objections to a variation. At the conclusion of today's case, the ZBA must make a finding of facts identifying its reason for granting or denying the variation. The board may require the petitioner to meet certain conditions so that the use allowed by the variation will not have a negative impact on nearby properties. The applicant and the public have an opportunity to make suggestions regarding appropriate conditions. ZBA case number 000718-2021 is a variation request to 1, reduce the front street setback from 30 feet to 2.8 feet to allow for the construction of an attached garage, and 2, reduce the side yard setback from 7 feet to 2.9 feet to allow for the construction of a attached garage. The applicant is TAK Lakehouse LLC, recorded owner. The property is 25138 West Lake Avenue, Ingleside, Illinois. It is approximately 0.32 acres and is a non-conforming lot in the R1 district. A legal notice for the case was published in the Daily Herald on November 17th, 2021. Correspondence about the case has been received from the Lake County Divisions of Engineering, Building, Health Department, and Public Works. Alexandra Samarina will present the application today. I'm happy to take any questions.
Sounds good. Any questions, staff? Hearing and seeing none. Samarina, we will turn it over to you. If you'd like to give us a kind of a rundown of what you want to do there and a little background, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, we purchased the property in 2020 when the current owner just pretty much abandoned it. And at that point, we had a little bit of a hesitation of getting it because of the property being located in the floodplain. And first, we didn't even consider it to the full extent, but we really liked it and we wanted to improve it. So we did go ahead with the purchase, and now we're trying to make it even better, bring value to the neighborhood. So we have decided to take a chance and try to get a variance for building an attached garage on the property on the southwest corner of our lot. We consulted with multiple architects, and the only place to put the garage was in that corner, because on the northern side there's a channel, on the eastern side it's mapped wetlands, and the public road goes pretty much to the end of the house. So we believe that this garage will bring a lot of good things to us, and will allow us not to interfere with any one of the neighbors. It shouldn't affect their views. It will provide us with a very valuable storage. And I hope no one has an objection to that. So please, any comments, concerns, let me know, and I will try to explain and ration my decision to try to build a garage there. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you for the testimony. We'll turn it over to the board members. They may have some questions at this time. So just want to listen to those. We will start with Member Hockney.
Yeah, my only, I have no real concerns other than I couldn't figure out exactly what that was going to look like. I sat in that gravel driveway for quite a while saying, architecturally, what's this going to look like? So that's my concern. I wasn't sure architecturally how it was going to match up with the house.
Well, I provided with the application, I provided a sketch, which we worked on with an architect. We're trying to match the existing exterior of the house to our best ability. I already found like a matching siding. The roofing will be matching the existing house roofing. It will be, it's just, we will try to make it look as it was built with the house in the first place.
Were there any concerns from the neighbors?
Not that I know of. No one expressed, were there a lot of the times, they saw the notice, we talked about it, and no one really expressed any concerns to me.
It looked like it would be really close to your neighbor. What direction? I guess that's the east.
Yes, it will be very close, but at this time, I'm not obstructing any of their views. They have nothing in that side of the property. There's just some, I think, couple small bushes that they're growing there. They will not affect that at all.
And there's no other garage on that street that's that close to the road that I saw. So I just couldn't figure out how this all was going to work.
There's garages that serve the people on the island that are right on that street. It's just, I believe it will be very aesthetically pleasing looking. I really hope so. And it won't be looking like completely different. We're trying to match all the materials, and hopefully that will just look good.
Yeah, well, okay, the fact that you're at the end of the road, I think that helps a little bit, so that's all.
Thanks, Dennis. Member
Greg?
Peterson. Yeah,
Greg, I'm sorry if I could, I apologize for interrupting. If
bet.
at any time the members would like me to pull anything up on the screen, we've got aerial mapping, the application form, site photos that were taken by Tom. So we can pull anything up if you guys would like to look at anything. And then also the neighbor that is in attendance, she has indicated she would like to speak, but I'm assuming we'll get to that later in the agenda.
Perfect.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks. Member Peterson.
Yeah, Krista, can you put up the front view of the house with
Sure.
the garage, the schematic on that, please?
Would you like, I'm sorry, would you like the street, like Google Street View, or do you want to see the application?
The Google Street View. I think that'd probably be more clear.
Okay, give me just one moment.
Thank you.
Okay.
We do have a view of the area where the garage is going to be located that Brad took. So it shows both houses adjacent to each other without the foliage. That tree's not there anymore, apparently.
Yeah.
So I can share that view if you'd like to see that.
Without the tree? Yes, please.
Yeah, so it's the most current photo.
Let's see.
Screen. Okay. It's not allowing me to share, right? Krista, you have to allow me to. Okay.
Should be able to now.
Yeah, now I can. Okay, there it is. You all can see that.
So where the orange flags are, is that how far the garage will go out to?
No, that's the property line.
Okay. So how,
So it
Well,
will be like
go ahead.
almost 3 feet from the property line on the side yard.
Yeah.
And the overhang is less than 1 foot. So it shouldn't, I won't be encroaching on the neighbor's property.
okay. So almost in line with where your boat is, the edge of your boat on the left-hand side, is that what you could say? Is that what
I'm
you
sorry?
think? So your boat that's in the back?
Uh-huh.
So if you look at it on the left side, would you say that then that would that's about as far
Oh,
as your
no,
garage will go?
it's gonna be flush with the front facade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not trying to take any space between our houses because that is really tight. So I'm trying to make it mostly in the front of my house.
Okay. I have no other questions. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Member Roche.
I guess I think that cleared it up for me. So I'm trying to look at the drawing that based on this picture. So you're saying that the garage, literally was about to point to my screen. That's not going to be helpful. But the garage will not go past that.
Oh, yeah.
Again, pointing to my screen, still not helpful. That the garage is going to go exactly in line with the back wall of the house.
Yeah, like Thomas sharing the sketch of the footprint for the proposed garage.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's not going to be, it's just going to be adjacent to the front facade where we're going to be, we're going to make an entrance to the house. And then the rest, I couldn't move, get it closer. I mean, it's like shaped a little weirdly, but just because I have the electric service getting in that corner of the building, so I can't, it will be too difficult. I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry. But it will actually extend a little bit farther west from the actual back of the house.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I misunderstood what you had said before. I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, then I don't have any questions.
Okay, thanks, Maggie. Thank you. Member Starkey.
I guess I don't have any questions that haven't been answered on the actual construction of it, but when I drove through there, I just wondered, like, so the Lake County Roads Department is okay with all this being so close to the road? Because in my truck, like say for fire trucks and things like that, how do they navigate through those narrow passageways with buildings right up, pretty close to the property line and roadway?
The Grant Township Highway Commissioner.
All from the Callahan Road.
I think someone needs to mute something. So the Grant Township Highway Commissioner did look at the plans yesterday and did look at the staff report, and she said she didn't have an objection to the variance request.
Right. Yeah, I saw that, and I was surprised just because it would be difficult to get large vehicles in and out of that area, especially with the dead end there. But that was the only thing that came to mind for me.
Great. Thanks, Member Starkey. My only comment was very similar to Member Starkey's too, just it is tight at the end there. So that was my concern, and did want to make sure we heard from the township as well on that. Looks like we did. Guess I'll wait to hear from the resident that we have here too and see if any other questions pop up. Anything else from the board members?
Yeah, I have one thing, Greg.
Yep. Go right ahead, Dennis.
There's within the package, there was a drawing that shows kind of a butterscotch color that shows where the garage is going to be in front of the house.
Yep.
I think that's the one I'd spent the most time looking at. Can you put that up? Yeah, that's one.
Yep.
That does show that it does extend beyond the side of the house. Correct?
Yes, it is.
When I was, when I look at the end of the garage there, was that where the gravel ended?
Probably.
It was there were like railroad ties at the edge of the gravel. Is that where that edge of the garage will be?
Very similar to that. Maybe a plus minus foot, but approximately that.
Looking at it, that's kind of what it appears, Denny, in my eyes too.
Yeah.
So kind of almost to, I don't know if it was Maria's comment, but so almost to where that boat was, where she made the comment earlier, I think was pretty accurate.
If I did the math right, as I'm looking at when you had the other screen up with the dimensions, and I'm looking at it here, if I have the math right, it extends out almost 7 feet from where, again, I want to use my pointer too, from the front part of the house that juts out. No, not that one. Yeah, here we go. So where we're looking at the red, again, I'm using my pointer. I can't use that.
Yeah.
There you go. Those dimensions, the 24.76. And if I subtract the 1492.92 and then subtract the 2.9, Am I correct to say that then from the corner where the 24.76 starts, your garage protrudes almost 7 feet out to the west? Is that correct?
Sounds about right.
Okay, so 7 feet, how much space, how close is that to your neighbor's house?
The neighbors have, well, it's gonna be 2.8 foot to the property line plus the distance from the property line to the house, which would be approximately 6 foot, 7 foot. I did the survey. If you need me, I can additionally send it out to show with all the dimensions there, if that would help.
Well, I think Tom or someone's doing it right now.
Tom is yeah, he is navigating, trying to measure that distance right now between the two houses.
And is this I'm sorry, I don't remember if I read that or not. Is this a 2-car garage or a 2.5-car garage?
2.5. I wasn't able to fit a 2-car garage there.
Any other comments? Tom, looks like you measured something out there.
Yes,
Yeah,
from the eve, yeah, from the eave to the eve of the two houses is about 22 feet.
Okay. Any other questions of any board members right now? And we'll come back to you if you have more once we hear from, I think, that neighbor that's there as well.
I do have a question. If we go to the front elevation, I know I took a picture of it when I was there as well. There's a white, I'm not sure if it's a sewer clean out or something on the
Correct.
west. What is that? And will that be covered with the garage, or how are you going to handle that?
If it would need to be relocated, I will take care of it. I spoke with a general contractor. He came out to the site to take a look. He didn't seem to be concerned about that, nor the gas lines that go under the gravel. So it will be like hand dug out if needed, and will be taken care of.
Okay, I was just curious what that was. So,
Any other questions from any of the members? Hearing and seeing none, I know we do have the neighbor to the west, I believe, on with us today. Apologize, I didn't catch your name, and I know it's different than what we've got in the Zoom meeting there. So if you wanted to come on now, just state your name and address for the record. And if you have, since you're the only one who have questions or comments, we'll be happy to take those now.
Hi, thank you. It's Kathy Murray. We have the house. We own the house next door. We don't live in it, but we own it. Hello, everyone. Thank you. And I'm using my son's computer, and I guess it's his friend. I did not know that, so I apologize. So we do have concerns about how close it is to the house. And I kind of sent those through with going with 2.9 feet off of the property line, and ours is just under 8 feet. And then just hearing now that there's an additional foot, that's going to be significantly close to ours. And we're worried, and I put through on some of the information about quote unquote the flood. I'm worried about the runoff, because I know, talking to Kim at the township, that floods, and just like Todd and Kashev said, it's crazy out there. The street floods, the end of the road floods. It is bad. But putting it right there, I think, especially with our right next to that runs through the side of the road, is our septic. And we've had issues before with trying to get to the back of the yard. How will we get back there? We've already had several encroachments from that house originally being built And then on the other side, the garages before we purchased, we can't even get through the other side of the house because of that overhang onto our property, as well as a concrete slab they have for breaking their foundation, even more to the west of me. And then the road, the parking, again, getting to if we had to fix sewer pipes, etc. It's very close. I'm not saying that they shouldn't do something, and I would love to have them be able to do something. But, you know, if we take where you were saying the eaves, I kind of put some notes in there. It's very, very close. We're not even 8 feet to that corner at the front of our house to the property line. And then if they come over the 2.9 and then another foot on top of that, that's 1.9. That's very, very small. When I did the math going out, it's under 9 feet, 11 inches. That's small. Now we
Oh,
did
I
take out
just
all the
point
trees.
out- I'm sorry, that the variance should be from the eave. And so there can't be a 1 foot overhang into that 2.9. And I explained that to the applicants when they applied.
So are they going to move it over then, or is it within the 2.9? I mean, it's a lot. And then to the road, if they go all the way to the road, what are they going to do with all of the runoff in the water?
So if
What is the
pardon me, ma'am, if the variance is approved, the structure cannot extend more than 2.9 feet, and that includes any overhang. So it is from the overhang. Just to
And then-
clarify that, because there was a statement that seemed to contradict that.
Right. Where are they moving the gas and sewer?
I'm not moving anywhere.
Not moving it, it's staying?
Yes.
Hi. And I worry about the road. I mean, it's a lot.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Board members, do you have any questions of Ms. Murray? Not hearing any. Petitioner, do you have any response to Ms. Murray and the concerns she had raised?
Well, there's the runoff she mentioned is, it's not like we have a storm sewer there that I'm gonna prevent from working. It's the water, when it gets flooded, it just stays and gradually leaves, goes to the lake. I mean, the runoff, I'm not really concerned about per se. And yeah, whenever she needs access or us to like help navigate through the property, like to get to her septic, or whenever she needs repairs on the piping on any other engineering system, we'll be happy and very happy to cooperate with her on that matter.
Okay, thanks for your comments. Ms. Murray, did you have any other comments?
I believe it, Kash. I know that we would work together on everything like we have in the past. I'm just worried about future. Again, if we, sell or someone else purchases your home, things like that. That's, we're worried about the future more than current. And again, runoff, water flowing through everything, which it seems to do.
Sure, understand. Thank you. Board members, once again, any other questions of either the applicant or Mrs. Murray?
I have a question. So
Sure, Member Peterson.
please explain, because I don't live near water, but I'd like to understand, where is the flooding occurring? How does it occur? Where is it occurring? And then once the flooding is receding, in what direction is the flooding going?
So that whole dead end gets underwater. Probably like the worst time it was like a year and a half ago, last March, it was I don't know, almost three-quarter foot deep. So yeah, and then the water, just because we're at the lowest part of that area, so all the water from the area accumulates in that dead end, and eventually it runs off to the east to the lake. So the area marked red is where the it's regulatory floodway there. So I'm not allowed to construct or put anything there. So that limits my options right there.
Just to interrupt briefly, we do have engineering staff available if the ZBA would like to ask any questions of staff as well.
So is that picture, Tom, that's shown where the car is that, I'm taking that that's water underneath there?
Yes, that is water. And so the bluish color that's covering all of the property in this image is the floodplain, is the 100-year floodplain. So this is the area that has 1% chance in a year of being flooded. And then the floodway is the area of high velocity flow, which there's very limited things you can do in a floodway. And of course, the floodway's boundaries on this image are not exact. There would have to be a survey done to find exactly where the floodway is. So it's an approximation.
Okay.
So where does the water pool and where the gravel is, that driveway?
Yes.
That's where the garage is going to go?
Yes. I'm gonna put the if the variance is approved, the design intent is to put the thickened slab, concrete slab that would raise it above the floodplain elevation.
Well, I think the concern is if you do that, where does that displace the water?
Yeah.
Because water's got to flow somewhere. So where's that water going to go? Does that land slope down? Does that land slope downward east and towards the lake?
Correct.
So it doesn't slope downward towards your neighbor to the west. It slopes downward to the east.
It
That's
does
right.
somewhat. You can see the water that goes all the way over to our driveway in the street. If you look under the trees, it does come across and then comes across to the driveway. So it fills that whole street.
Tom, it might be helpful to put on the contour to the topography layer. You might have to turn off the other layers to be able to see it though.
Very flat, so I'm not sure it will be very helpful, but with this aerial, it's also hard to see.
Yeah, if you turn off the aerial photo and go back to it's easier. Maybe zoom in a little bit. That's better.
So it does look like their house is at 742 and the neighbor's about a foot lower.
Mm-hmm.
They raised it when they put the house and the foundation in last time. When they built that.
I think it might be helpful if somebody from engineering were to discuss what the requirements are for building in a floodplain.
Absolutely. Could have engineering chime in at this time.
Yes.
Yeah, if Joel or Andrew, if either one of you are available to come online and speak, that would be great.
Sorry about that. Good morning, everyone. Yes, so we were aware of those concerns, and basically it is a very flat area. The topography does show that the southwest corner of the property does also potentially drain a little bit to the north between the two properties. So the way we were anticipating that we would kind of work with the consultants and the designers, the engineers, the architect when we're at the permitting stage with this is that we would strongly, very strongly recommend that all roof downspouts for the new attached garage drain to the north, possibly underground, to an underground pipe that discharges at the north property line, so that we don't have any surface water from that, all that new impervious area draining to the street or draining to the west to the adjacent property. Everything would drain to the north from the new garage. So that way, basically the improvements are not adversely impacting any of the surrounding areas, particularly the homeowner to the west. So that's something that we would be aware of when we're reviewing it at time of the site development permit stage. So, but yes, it is a concern. It's very flat. We would want all that runoff to be directed and conveyed away from the property to the west and the street.
Thanks,
I'm
Joel.
sorry
Any
to-
questions of Joel?
I'm sorry to interrupt. Could I see the topographical that's over by where the runoff is, where she can't build? That's to the east?
East.
So Ms. Frazier did not identify herself. I don't know if she needs to be
Okay.
sworn in. She didn't identify herself or list
It's
herself.
Kathy Murray.
Yeah, Ms. Murray, you
I
were on
did-
before.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes,
Sorry.
yeah. It's okay.
And I think Member Starkey, was that you that wanted to see over to the east then, where the,
That was
Little
me,
further.
Kathy, who had asked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just for the elevation. Yeah. So we're, because their whole property is at 742 and all of the runoff, and again, I understand flood and runoff are two separate, but goes down to 741. So we fill the same as that flow that's supposed to be filling. And now with all the weeds and everything that they have there at the end of the street that the township has left, it builds a wall. So it doesn't flow out, it flows back to the west. I'm not sure if you have views of that in the past or anything, but again, we're just creating more of a monster by driving it even further to the west, as opposed to letting it flow to the east where it's supposed to. In that red
Board
zone
member-
that you had showed us earlier.
thanks, Ms. Murray. Board members, any questions of Joel on his comments that he had there?
I have one.
Yep, go ahead.
He said he would recommend that or require it. I heard recommend. It seems to me that if we're going to do this, it has to be required to run that water away from that neighbor's house.
Yeah, I think I precluded that very strongly recommend. Yeah, we would need to have it demonstrated to us very clearly that they're not adversely impacting the drainage. So yeah, we just have to be very careful when we use the words require versus strongly recommended if it's like per the ordinance. But yeah, legally they cannot adversely impact any neighboring properties. So the concern would be is we need that area to be directed to the north. And also I think the neighbor was also concerned about the base flood elevation rising. So based on the new impervious area, I think the dimensions of the garage was going to be just under 576. It needs to be under 576 square feet. So relatively speaking, that in and of itself will have a completely negligible effect on the overall footprint of the regulatory base flood elevation. But at the same time, if there is any fill that's being done on the property, like the owner said would be on a fill pad, that fill would need to be compensated for. So they would need to excavate possibly in the area on the east side or north side to compensate. So that's compensatory storage would be required. So there's a decent amount of engineering work that would have to be done to ensure that the floodplain is not adversely impacted and the neighbor's not adversely impacted. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense.
The water now is draining, is it running down the street? And if it is, if you put the garage there where that gravel is, which would drain some of that off, I'm concerned how much more water are we talking about that has to be drained out of there?
Well, when we talk about the roof downspouts, that's basically the roof downspouts would be conveying the footprint of the garage. So
Yeah.
all that impervious area from the roof. So that would be directed to the north. Like I said, possibly with an underground storm sewer system small storm sewer system. But anything that's like draining in the area of the street and the right of way, there shouldn't, and again, we don't have plans yet at this point, but we'll need to make sure that all that area is possibly graded around. I mean, it's going to be tight. It is tight. So the reality is we can't change where the water flows. The neighbor's property is lower. So, I mean, the water has to go somewhere, which we've all said. So we just need to make sure that the new paved area, the new impervious, does not adversely impact. Like she's not seeing any more water than what she already is seeing. We can't expect the current applicant to fix this potentially small regional drainage issue. That we can't expect of anybody to do. We just got to make sure per our ordinance that it doesn't adversely cause more severe impacts to the neighboring property. So that's where we feel confident. We'd have to review that and make sure clearly that, like I said, that we take the stormwater to the north and that there is compensatory storage provided for any fill in the floodplain. And if she meets those criteria, then ideally, yeah, there would be no adverse impact. Aesthetically is a different story, but for us from engineering standpoint.
Can I ask a question quickly?
Sure, go right ahead.
How old are those elevations? Like, where do you know?
Tom, I'm assuming you're using the 2017 aerial. We also have 2007 aerial.
Yes, they are the 2017.
Okay, yeah. So it's the best available data that we have. Obviously, it's not survey data, so we will require a topographic survey, full engineering, detailed plans of this area and the lot. So these are just kind of rough ballpark, plus or minus a foot contours, but they are from 2017.
I remember speaking with Kathy previously, and she mentioned that they brought a ton of dirt to like resolve a couple of issues. So my question is like, whether, Kathy, can you please let me know whether that was done previously to 2017, what that
Yes, the county sent us after we had that huge flood way back in the early 2000s. They said that we could raise our elevation to whatever. I think it was a couple of 4 inches. So we brought in dirt to do that after that huge flood. That's when we fixed all the piers underneath the house and had all those added I was telling you about when we redid the structure underneath. So, and it was prior to 2017. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Great. Thanks, Joel. Board members, any further questions? Otherwise, I'm going to start to get some discussion on our side to see where we're at.
So just to clear it up, Joel, what you're saying is that the runoff concerns will be addressed with the permits and as the building progresses, like that, those concerns will be addressed.
Right. We're right now we're like pre-concept stage just because we don't have design. Sure. I mean, formal plans, but yeah, she's going to need to have architectural plans, engineering plans, more than likely a pretty comprehensive topographic survey of that whole area there, and even on the east side of the property to make sure that she's got area for any compensatory storage, any excavation cut areas. Okay. So yeah, and that's where we will internally with staff and engineering division and zoning will work so that when we are at the site permit stage, we clearly know these issues need to be addressed, and we'll make it very clear in our review comments that we'll make sure that this is not adversely impacting neighboring properties.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions from the board members? Hearing and seeing none, Member Hockney, let's see how you're feeling. We'll go around.
Well, I certainly appreciate the neighbors' concerns. And I also appreciate the engineering comments with the fact that will not adversely impact the neighbor. So given that, I think I'm all right with it.
Sounds good. Thanks, Denny. Member Peterson.
I concur with Member Hockney. I think my concerns have been answered. Thank you.
Thanks, Member Roche.
I'm good.
Perfect. And Member Starkey.
I'm okay with it. I feel as though there's going to be a lot of engineering and surveying going on. So, I mean, I think it might be possible, but I think it's going to be a bigger project than maybe the applicant realizes. As somebody who lives on a lake and has flooding issues, sometimes you open up a can of worms, and I do feel for the neighbor to the west. So I want to make sure that their concerns are addressed.
Great, thanks. And I agree with Member Starkey's comments as well. Joel made some good comments there. I'm hoping the applicant is aware of those as she has been going through the process, that there will be significant steps that will take place if this is approved today. Sounds like you do have a good relationship with your neighbor as it is now, and hopefully that will continue as you move forward with this if it is approved. Okay with it too. Any comments, Mrs. Semarina, before we close testimony and go for a vote?
No comments. I appreciate everyone's time and questions. Yeah, we did expect there's going to be a very challenging project for us, but we're willing to proceed with that if the variance is approved. Thank you.
Sounds good. Sounds good. We'll go around one more time just with the members as we do formally before we close testimony. Member Hockney, I think I know everybody's okay with it, but just for the record, we need to go through. So Member Hockney, perfect. Member Peterson.
Fine.
First, Member Roche.
I'm okay.
Member Starkey.
I'm okay with that.
Great, and I'm okay as well. With that, a motion would be in order to close testimony then.
So moved.
Second.
First Member Hockey, second from Member Peterson, I think it was. Roll call vote.
Member Hockney,
Aye.
Member Peterson,
Aye.
Member Starkey,
Aye.
Member Roche,
Aye.
Chair Kaplan.
Aye.
Testimony is closed.
Perfect. Testimony is closed. And with that, a motion is in order on ZBA case 718-2021.
Also move that we approve variance application 00718-2021 for a front street yard setback for an attached garage from 30 feet to 2.8 feet, and to allow a side yard setback for an attached garage from 7 feet to 2.9, and that the location of the structure shall be consistent with the site plan accompanying this ZBA application. And that engineering keep a tight eye on this project.
Perfect. And then I assume in your motion, it meets the conditions as outlined in the staff report.
Yes, I'm sorry, I got distracted by the noise.
Yep. No worries. Just want to make sure that was in there. First, we've got a first from Member Peterson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from, I'm going to say Member Starkey, I think it was. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, roll call, please.
Member Peterson.
Aye.
Member Starkey,
Aye.
Member Hockney,
Aye.
Member Roche,
Aye.
Chair Kaplan.
Aye.
The variations pass 5-0.
Sounds good. Good luck with the project. Thank you, Mrs. Murray, for coming out and voicing your concerns as well. We do appreciate residents' input, and hope you all have a great holiday season.
Okay.
With that,
You also.
we will take a 5-minute break to give staff a little time to set up for our next case. So we'll be back here in 9:55.
And we
And-
correct.
What was that?
Do you need me anymore for anything?
Nope, you're free to sign off. Unless you want to join us, you're welcome to stick around.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Take care. We'll be back on at 9:55.